Oh, I say. Welcome to the body of the Kirk, the Reverend. Welcome to the congregation, the flock, the parishioners, however you may term yourselves. Welcome. The sermon will start in a moment. But first, we'll get to some of your comments. You utter wrong-uns. You start a coughing fit. I've just had a quick look at what you've been saying. Well, what can I say? It's to be expected, knowing you. These will come off in a little while because I prefer naked to clothed, so to speak. And what was I going to say to you? We've got a very interesting sermon this evening. It doesn't incorporate a lot, but it's going to be me reacting to you and talking about stuff because you know me, the irreverent reverend, the cynical old tart. Oh, by the way, did you notice how, was it Tulisa or who was it in the jungle called, what's his face, Richard Coles, the irreverent reverend? How very dare they? They're nicking me monikers, man. How very dare they? So the irreverent reverend in Blighty, not in Australia, but I shall get to the sermon in just a little while. We've had a visit from the bishop this week, so I need to avail you of. He was very complimentary about you. He did say, please send my Christmas good wishes and cheer to all of the parishioners who've been supporting you this year. You're wrongin'. I think he was talking to me. But he did say that now that the organ has been greased and it will no doubt end with a flourish. Well, I think that's what he said. It was more like ends with a happy finish. I think he meant flourish. Anyway, Paulie Galtieri, good evening, Adrian. Yeah, wrong evening, Paulie. Good to see you in the body of the Kirk and you're at the front. Blimey, you may as well hand out the prayer books. Stuart says, evening, Rev. I've got a request. Splodginess abounds. 2 pints of lager and a packet of crisps, please. Could we replace the letters about the door from Body of the Kirk to BBC, the British Brandenburg Corporation? I think we should do, because let's face it, it would make the whole place smell a whole lot better than the usual guff that comes out the BBC. We are going to talk about them quite a bit this evening, because they're not my favourite at the moment, bastards. Oh, sorry. I do apologise to the parishioners. The Reverend is a little wound up by the BBC this evening, so it tends to just, come out loud. A bit like Camel Toe Harris. So Stuart, yes, we'll definitely. The Bovril evening. Oh, I'm in the vestry. Oh, I say, the Bovril, what are you up to? Enjoying a ham sandwich and a mug of tea. I thought it said tug of tea. I was going to say, the Bovril. Has one given up the delights of the Bovril? The heating is on. It needs to be. It's bloody freezing tonight, man. And you know what they say. If it's cold in the vestry, then it's going to be cold everywhere. Just be careful of those nuns, because they do tend to want to warm their hands up before they start making the refreshments for the parishioners this evening. So get into the pews, get into the body of the Kirk, and make sure that you're nice and comfortable with your Piles cushion, your Battenberg, and your altar wine. At least. I do have my usual hibiscus. The bishop was getting a little concerned because he did say to me, Reverend Alan, you appear to be drinking an awful lot of that hibiscus tea, and I understand that one of the parishioners, I think he's called Stuart, is lacing your hibiscus with a Jaeger tot. I was like, don't mention tots in here. We'll get arrested, man. No. It's hibiscus. It's hibiscus. Only special tea for birthdays, bar mitzvahs, and Christmas. So no, Your Eminence, not allowed. He gave me one of those looks, those knowing looks of, you don't kidda. Louise Hampson, evening all. Rowan's evening, Louise. Welcome to the body of the Kirk as ever. And to Andrew James, can you please close the doors? It's getting a bit drafty up the old Reverend's cassock. Well, less of my cassocks, the better. After you've entered the Kirk, oh, I say, entering and leaving and entering the Kirk. Is that James T? And hand over all phones. Oh, yes. Hand over the phones. I understand that there was somebody took a video. Somebody filmed the sermon last week. And, well, there's been bits and pieces appearing on YouTube. All I can say is, well, mea culpa. And well, you're handing your bloody phones in. We'll stop that. So no one can be accused of fraud, theft and wasting police time for misplaced phones. Quite. Unless you're an MP, of course. In which case, it's never fraud, Your Honour. No. We can't really say anything. The altar boys have superannuation, have they really? Preparation H will cure that. Soul Rebels evening, back in the body of the Kirk. Soul Rebel, welcome. Make sure you can get into the pews. It's warmer down the front, seemingly. Evening, brethren, evening, parishioners, evening, Soul Rebel. Tracy the Celibate Sinner, blessing upon all. I do apologise, I need to get this right. Blessing upon you all. And happy Easter. I've been looking at the lady from MasterChef and was wondering if the trout she's referring to is the one in her thong. Well, Tracy, the celibate sinner, you would know all about a pongy trout. But I did... we will talk about this. Please remind me on about trout. Because she started laughing. She was in an interview and she started laughing in the interview when she was talking about her trout. Now, I'm going to give you a conspiracy theory this evening. Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute. So thank you, Tracy the Celibate Sinner. Stephen Hall, good to see you back in the body of the Kirk, Stephen. Welcome. You're always welcome. Who else? Stephen Hall. Oh, hang on, the moderator's on. Hang on. My finger was too strong there for a second. Let me get to the moderator. We have a special guest act tonight for one night only. The Starmers will be singing Christmas carols. Have you seen the state of the Starmers? Now, they're Jewish, so they don't celebrate Christmas. They don't. Hanukkah. They celebrate Hanukkah. And they don't celebrate Christmas. So no, that bloody one day he had a face on him. No, let's have a countdown. And everybody in Downing Street's like, hang on, what's one of those? Oh, he wants us to count from 5 to 1. Ask the Chancellor of the Exchequer. She's the one with numbers. She's the first female Chancellor of the Exchequer. She should know how to count 5 to 1. Although, having looked at her last budget, we have our doubts. 5 to 1, and then it's almost as if somebody's sticking a butt plug up him to kind of go, smile, Prime Minister. Because he's not got... now, I know that the left have no joy. They have no fun. They have no humour. So him standing on the steps of 10 Downing Street, being completely joyous, didn't hold his missus' hand. Adrian, do not do that gag. I was about to say something and I caught myself from getting myself into an awful lot of trouble. No, we'll leave that one. But let's just say that he's got a face on him that sucking on 15 lemons wouldn't shift. Just. But we are going to talk about him. Rachel and Diane are in charge of numbers, Adrian, says Soul Rebel. Oh, yes. She's the mother of the house. Mind you. Giving birth to all those offspring. 650 of them, blimey. And these have been knocking like... No, don't do that gag either, Adrian. Oh, I'm having to self-edit tonight. I'm telling you, I am going to get myself into trouble. In the field, we don't mention the A word. In the field, good evening, Adrian and Flock. Today, I was mesmerised by PMQs. Were you really? Did he do up his trousers afterwards? Someone did an AI of Starmer. 5, 4, 2. No! Did they? I've seen it. Sorry, in the field. I'll get back to you in a second. I've seen the one where. Thank you to someone who shan't be named in the public arena, but they did send me the video of Starmer being run over by a speedboat. But the AI. Hang on. Are you insinuating Lord Protector Starmer is humorless? Yeah. So I've seen some of them. Some of them are just. You can tell when the public really don't like you because they use humour. If they hate you, they'll start burning effigies like Thatcher. But this man is, I think he's beyond anything we've experienced before. I looked at PMQs today, just to pass a little comment. He's a charmless man, as Blur once sang. Paulie, you've got absolutely nailed that one. AI is very convincing now, says Stephen Hall. Stephen, you've been missing for quite a while, young sir. I do hope everything is well with you and your family coming into the festive period. Des Ashton says, and lo, the tree did burst into flames. I mean, it's like, oh, it's not working. Have we got any techies around? It's like, holy, hang on a second. Oh, yeah. My printer's deciding to do things that it shouldn't be doing, to be fair. I mean, can you imagine the sound in the body of the Kirk from my printer? And it's like, I mean, I wish it had gone wrong, because, I can't wait to get some of these texts, because they've been feeling a bit down lately. Stephen, welcome to the body of the Kirk, sir. Make sure you can get in the front, because that's where the Battenberg and the hibiscus, and watch out for Stuart, because he's lacing the hibiscus with Jaeger bombs. What a boy. What, I'm not knocking it. It's cold outside. It keeps you warm. It's skiing. It's breakfast of champions. So if you can, join us at the front of the body of the Kirk, Stephen. You're most welcome, because it's just full of wrong uns, utter wrong uns. Anyway, so In the Field says, good evening, Adrian and Flock. Today I was mesmerised by PMQ's Augmented Angela, the Ginger Growler. Now, I don't know whether you can see PMQs again, but can I just say, she didn't look right. She didn't look right. Now, I don't know whether she'd been, they put too much cooking sherry in the trifle at lunch, or whether she'd had an early lunch or a liquid lunch, or whether there'd been, somebody had spilt some flour somewhere. But looking at her, it was almost as if she couldn't touch her face, and couldn't feel her face, because she was like, I don't know, there was just something. I won't speak out of church, but it just something, and I think In the Field has actually picked up on it. Augmented Angela appears to be smuggling extra breast, maybe for Christmas dinner at Starmer's. Well, when she went to see the chief PDF, have you noticed now everybody on YouTube can't actually use the word because they ban the videos just because they've used the word, even in context, can't use the word. You can on X, because you can say anything you want on X. Chief PDF, meet Angela Rayner, Ginger Growler. Oh, well, it wasn't exactly like Manchester United and Manchester City, but to be fair, Pep Guardiola would have gotten more of a rise out of the Ginger Growler than Chief Kitty Fiddler. Trying to look like Poison Ivy. Ooh, Batman. Yeah, Poison Ivy. Have you seen, what was the TV series? Gotham. Gotham. Because you know the guy that played... you see, I haven't had my hibiscus, so my brain's not working. Let me get through these, because there's loads of really good comments coming in. And I do want to make it very interactive this evening, if you don't mind. So thank you, In the Field. Stephen Hall, should be fun. Moderator, probably another council house she's forgotten she's purchased on buy-to-let. Yeah. Or it could be student accommodation. Might not. Adam West. No, not that Batman. No. I was thinking Chief, not Chief Wiggum. He's out of Simpsons. The other chief who went on to marry the really good-looking Right, let me see if I can get this stream of consciousness correct. So in Hill Street Blues, it was Joyce Davenport. Can't remember the actress, but oi, 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 forgive me, I'm a heterosexual man. It was very pleasing to my eyes. Joyce Davenport in Hill Street Blues. Oof, 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 oof. And then in Gotham, there was some woman similar who was playing like the local lawyer, barrister, you know what I think of them. Somebody was trying to start a fight the other night, saying, oh, is that Black Belt Barrister you're talking about? No, I've got respect for Black Belt Barrister. He's grafted on here. He's grafted for years and years and years. No, I'm talking about those who don't, who aren't worthy of our reverence. But Joyce Davenport, Hill Street Blues, and then Gotham, there was something similar. And the chief, before he became chief, in real life, they ran off with each other. And I'm using that as a reference because we are going to get to Gregg Wallace. Because do you know what? He might be an arse, and an utter wrong 'un. But do you know what? There's other things to talk about with this, because I wonder what you make of it. Anyway, we're going to get to conspiracy theories. We're going to get to other BBC presenters who seem to be knocking them out with other people, especially when they marry them. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, we'll get comments. Napoleon Bonaparte, good to have you in the body of the Kirk, young sir. Hello. Madonna with the big boobies. Hello, AA and Rollins. What we're talking about today. Anything you want, Napoleon Bonaparte. We are going to talk about some stuff, but it seems that, and I've moved the newspapers. I am going to, I don't know whether you can see this. Can you see that? Can you see what she's saying? That a member of staff in the BBC groped her. Now, it wasn't Gregg Wallace, was it? No, Your Reverend, Honour, Eminence. No. So, we'll be talking about that, because it seems that the BBC's full of utter wrong-uns that should be taken outside. And I will tell you the story about Simon Bates fondling my sphericals. If you've heard the story before, then, don't spoil it for everybody else. But I am going to tell you that story again, and how I stopped it. Because, well, the BBC, look at how we came by Battenberg. It was a BBC presenter that was holding sex parties at hotels in Newcastle. And the Scat Queen of Europe, who cost him $3,500, that's €3,500 to come across and perform at this particular sex party. I can talk about this and use these languages because this is not monetized for the moment. And, she came across and, so to speak, and said, I'll make sure I eat the Battenberg before I come over. And the email thread conversation went, oh, why would you do that? Makes it smell better, seemingly. So that's how we revere the Battenberg, because it's one of those things that you and I know about, that the whole, apart from the Scat Queen in Europe, nobody else knows about, not even the MPs. Well, I do have my doubts about the MPs in the Palace of Westminster. They probably watch regularly, so they know. Just eat it, let it fester for a couple of days, stick a butt plug up there in your Scattenberg. Exactly. Is that Stuart? Stuart. That's why I put the glasses on, man. Thank you, Napoleon Bonaparte. Welcome to the body of the Kirk. To Johnny Ray, evening all, yeah, wrong-uns. Evening, Johnny Ray. Ernst Goldfinger, evening all. Just tried Gregg Wallace's Battenberg. Not so good, eh, Ernst? No, it's the real thing. You come here for the real thing. Kathy Harper, good evening all. Good evening, Kathy. Welcome to the body of the Kirk. And Andrew James again. Can you stop reading out loud tonight, please, in the field? We keep hearing about Mr. Tall, Mr. Muddle, Mr. Bump, Mr. Tickle, and Mr. Small. It's becoming to sound like a book about Elm House. That is very funny, Andrew. That is very funny. You forgot Kitty. Those that know. And those that don't, I'm not telling you on air. He's litigious. In the field, there's a great conversation going on. Yes, that could well be it. Also, maybe she's keeping her own Dubas CV close to her chest. Just in case the media catch a glimpse. What was I going to say about the CV? We'll get the PMQs in a second. Don't be leading me on. Leah, evening Adrian, evening all, evening Leah, welcome to the Body of the Kirk. Was Reeves the thieves in property management? Somebody said she looked as rough as a badger's backside today. I agree with you. I mean, do they not have, they have a barber, so to speak, a hairdresser, barber, whatever you want to call it, in the Palace of Westminster as you go into kind of the central hall, and to the left it's the Commons, to the right it's the Lords, and there's a barber's shop just there. Not a quartet, nobody singing, but you would imagine that they would kind of make sure that they were looking shipshape for the cameras for PMQs on a Wednesday. Cool, blimey. I mean, maybe they were at a party last night. Remember the WhatsApp group right now in Portcullis House? They're shagging anytime tonight. Gary Shabot's late. You're wrong. Had the grandchildren round catching up. Hope you're well. Very good, thank you, Gary. I just hope the grandchildren didn't get an earwig of of what we do on these lives. Alan says probably prego again. Do you think MPs have sex? Like normal, vanilla sex? Not that I want to give you that sort of image in your head, but can you imagine? Bless them. They work so hard. They want 4-day weeks. They want 10 till 4. I mean, what exactly are they up to? Filling their bloody bags with money as hard as they can go. Wrong'uns. Oh, Stuart, very good. Do they have Battenberg parties in Portcullis House? Next time I'm over there, because I'm thinking about going and doing the tours have just been advertised. This time it's a 50p tour. You get to go into the Commons and the Lords and all the gold in the Lords. I mean, I don't know whether you've watched it, but there must be millions in gold in there. But the security, so I would never advocate that. No. Chris MO65, we have liftoff. Steady. My rocket is under wraps for the moment. Simon Bates doing love stories. No, PTM wasn't love stories. It was Our Tune. Yeah. Is he called it something else now? I don't know who's got the copyright for Our Tune. Can you imagine? But I will tell you my story. Des Ashton, good evening, Reverend AA and the Battenberg Romans. Please pardon me. What have you just done, Des? Hope you didn't mark the furniture. PT Ham, evening, Adrian and all. Thank you, PT Ham. Fern, everyone, Fern's late. As always, Fern's late. There's a slice of Battenberg and a little sniff Travolta wine waiting for you in pew number 2. If you would like to take a seat, Fern, we'll make sure you get your feet under the table before I kick off. Oh, they have Battenberg cruisers too. What did somebody send me the other day? There was it was a picture of, I'm sure it was a bottle of some kind of liqueur, Battenberg liqueur. And I was thinking, if I give that out for free at the Christmas party in the Body of the Kirk, can you imagine? It would kick off big time. But what fun we'd have. I mean, we could always clear the pews and make it like a UFC octagon. Oh, I can taste the Jägermeister. Judge Roof is leaking back here. Oh, Alan says, well, the swear box is pretty full, so maybe we'll take the donations in the swear box and buy some lead for the roof, unless those local pikeys in England, of course. And I'm allowed to call them pikeys, bizarrely. And do you know why? Because the head gypsy in Nottingham came on my phone, in my lunchtime phone-in. And he said to me, he said, Adrian, you can call us whatever you want. He said, you're the only broadcaster in this country. In fact, you're the only person in this country that when we talk about holocausts and people being murdered and exterminated and a genocide in World War II, you are the only person that also mentions the 5 million gypsies that were wiped out by Hitler. And that's why, literally, he said on the radio, I've got a tape of it somewhere. Call us anything you want, Adrian, because we know you're on our side, and we know that you're the only person that says that. Nobody else. I think Stephen, they were there for Nottingham Fair. Does that still go on? I mean, the last time I was at Nottingham, I was at court, not for me, you're wrong, but covering it for the channel on somebody else. And it has changed, but it hasn't changed. They've just developed sort of the periphery. Century 106 is obviously no longer there. Paul Morton, evening, Rev. Let's go, ho, 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 all you. Wrong uns. Is it 3 weeks today? Is it 4 weeks today? Or is it 3 weeks today? We are going to talk some bit of Christmases. Anyway, thank you for all your comments. I will get to them as we go along. I do get it tight from the moderator who says, stop being distracted by the comments. But I love them. I love interacting with you. Nottingham born and bred. Who was that? John. Apologies. Let me get down to the bottom. John Drizzle, Nottingham born and bred. John, Nottingham's a fantastic town. Fantastic. I mean, when I went there, there was the rumours that it was like the most violent city in the country. I laughed. I mean, Radio Trent 310, 301, great days. Thank you, Stephen. I just laughed. Because I've been to more violent places. Have you been to Sunderland lately? And I think Nottingham is one of the most beautiful cities in the country. It has such heritage, sporting heritage, whether it's Trent Bridge for the cricket or whether it's Brian Clough in Nottingham Forest. I have a great love for Nottingham. I have some fabulous memories from there. So I won't have a word said against Nottingham. Goose fair, that's it, exactly. So if you want goosing, Kaz says Sunderland was never good. That's a bit of an understatement, Kaz. Oh, Stuart, you're wrong. So, next live, this coming Sunday, obviously 8th of December. 8th of December. I mean, where did that go? No sooner did we start 2024, and then, bang, somebody tries to assassinate a future president, and here we are going into 2025. So, I would like to... So, Sunday, 8th of December, 8 o'clock. But I would like to say, most importantly, to the legendary Battenbergers who have supported me and my swear box and little bits of repair to the lead roof, which maybe we need to put some cameras up to stop the locals from thieving it. I'd like to say thank you to the Bovril, who's been a long-standing supporter of the channel, and the Bovril, I love saying that. Get the mince pies in before Reeves puts an enjoyment tax on them. I know, I'm worried, because she will. But as someone has previously said to this evening, oh, did she look rough today? I mean, dog, rough. Maybe it was a late night. Who knows? Maybe she was over at Portcullis House. Who knows? With Liz Truss. Liz Truss, a sub, wore a day collar all the time she was Prime Minister in the chamber. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. Don't Google it. Oh, hang on. Let me get this because I do have I want to talk about this. The Maya Tusi situation. I'd forgotten all about that. Let me just do this. So thank you to the Bovril. Thank you to Nuki Brown and to Chris Mundy and to Stuart, who reminded me not to forget the log. I mean, honestly, can I ask you a question? Would you eat a Christmas log? I know we've sort of touched on this before, but it's just the word log. I mean, it would be more in keeping if it was called Christmas cable, because then you could say, yeah, I'm just going to go and lay some cable. But honestly, I can't. Even chocolate. And that's probably the reason why I can't. Hang on. He's suing the police. No. Des Ashton says, PT Ham, a day collar. 3 words. Please don't Google it if you're in company. Top of 69 says he lays Christmas logs, normally after the sprouts. Where did Chris M says, Reeves in Hull yesterday on local radio, looked fine. She looked like a different person today. Well, maybe she's had to put a shift in last night with a happy finish. U-Log, who was it? Somebody said that Maya Tusi is suing the police. For what? Can somebody... So I'm aware. Let's start this off after I've finished this off. Rich, thank you for your support as always. Great show, he says. And Steve Conlon, excellent AA. You made me think and you made me laugh. Behave, Steve. I was being serious. But thank you again for your support. Everyone's support. It does help with the channel and the lead roof and the swear box. Because when the bishop visited this week, it was... I say, Reverend, that swear box is rather full. Well, it's like this, Your Eminence. I tend to get a bit potty-mouthed every now and again. Oh, in front of the parishioners, Reverend? Oh, yes, yes. Yes. All the time. Oh, Kaz. Right, let's get into this. So, Kaz, what's your source for all of this? In the Field says Maya Tusi has become a trifle annoying now. He thinks he's made the big time. He's a dramatic grifter of the finest order. Oh, Alan. So I haven't seen this. I've seen Andre Walker's videos-ish, and I saw one of Maya's video before seeming he was going to be arrested on the Monday. Tusi is not suing the police. Someone has been watching too much of Andre Walker. So okay. It's always good to know what the sources are, because then you can see there are certain things that the police, certain rulings and laws that they have to adhere to. Now, I don't think that the police would publish anybody's details online, because the police are one of those organisations, a bit like the NHS and various other large organisations, who have 1,000,001 IT specialists. I mean, look at how much money they spent on the NHS. Andre Walker works at Talk TV. I thought he worked at GB News. Which one? Oh, possibly Talk TV. I don't know. But Andre Walker, good friends with Alex Belfield. Isn't that right, Andre? Tusi's channel will not be doing any fundraising or crowdfunding from our subscribers for this legal fight against the Metropolitan Police. Thank you, Terry. Now, either I'm getting hold of the wrong end of the shitty stick here, or what I do know from personal experience, the police don't tell you to come to the police station because they're going to arrest you. No. If somebody was going to be arrested, they would arrest them there on the spot. They would then take them to the police station and have them processed. After that, whether they stay in the cells or whether they're released on a police bail, pending attending or going back, the police have to have control of this. Andre Walker was rallying support as Tusi was going to be arrested, but they couldn't find the paperwork, and now someone has released these details. You see, this is why I like to see the sources that you're referencing, simply because this is what would have happened. I know that Maya Tusi went to visit Tommy Robinson 2 or 3 days before this all kicked off. I know, I've seen the video, Andre Walker saying that he will donate £10,000 to get the best human rights lawyer in this country, and then said even £1 million. And it's at this like I say, call me a cynical old tart, but I get what social media is all about now. It's clicks and likes and trying to grift for money. I will give you this fact. 99% of YouTube channels don't have 10,000 subs. So Andre Walker has gone, since the 2C thing kicked off, for want of a better term, he's gone through the 100,000 subs barrier, which gets him a silver play button. And I think 2C wants to get to 1 million. Now, he's been working his nuts off to make his channel a success, and yes, he has. He's been to some of the marches and done the live feeds. I was watching Tusi when he had 400,000 followers and thinking that was incredibly successful. But I will tell you this: the police are not stupid. They might be crooked, but they're not stupid. As Des says, with very few exceptions, we are barraged from all sides with total and utter bollocks. Technical term that we use in radio, obviously, but Des is right. So I'll sort of give you my take. So Maya had been to see Robinson 3 days before this kicked off. So I don't know whether somebody's putting a shot across his bow. Don't believe it was the police. They would not be that stupid. They would not. Even the Met Police, and they're rotten. A lot of them. Well, you know, rapists, abductors, murderers, you name it. There's loads of them. From the chair, the police can invite you in for an interview, and then what you tell them is in need of you. I think they can arrest you after that, can't they, if they don't have much evidence? So yes, I'm gonna get to that in the field. Somebody else said something. Tusi stated he would never ask for money, and he hasn't. He has some backers. It's not Mossad by any chance, is it? No, I'm not going to tell you why I know why I said that. So I watched it all kick off, and I've watched Maya Tusi's work, which I think is excellent. He's a former press officer. Is it council or London Council, or he's a former press officer of sorts. And Andre Walker is his former Conservative press boy. I know of Andre. I know what guidance and advice he gave Alex Belfield and the reasons behind it. So I know of these characters. But when Andre Walker put out this video, I was like, hang on a second. Wow, Andre, what's going on? And then he said, well, we'll get some money behind it, and then we'll make sure. And I thought, oh, Maya Tusi must be right in the doo-doo here. What has he done? And then, as I say to you all the time, what's the first victim of war? The truth. So I thought, is this for clicks and likes and subs? Now, when Andre started on his channel, again, because I watched him fleetingly before he packed it in and went to sort of TV journalism, even though he's not a journalist. As such, he's never been to university and studied and got a qualification in it, I don't think. But he did tell Alex how to get an NUJ card. Is that right, Andre? From what my sources tell me, and my sources are impeccable. So I watched Andre's video, and Andre's a great operator. He's a great presenter. But I was very concerned personally by what he was saying around Maya Tusi, and I was thinking, oh, it's we've had all this stuff with, you know, right wing, and we've got the left going, oh, it's all right wing, and I just thought there's something not right here. And I know, as In the Field says, that if you had any interaction with the police, they would offer you an opportunity to attend for interview under your own steam. They wouldn't arrest you, they'd invite you in for interview. So I thought, have they invited him in for interview and he's got this wrong? He's thinking he's being arrested. Because it's easy to do if you don't know the law or you haven't had any interaction with the Rozzers, and I'm sure that everybody in Sunderland has. Maybe I'll tell you the story about the night I was lifted for being a possible rapist. Turned out I wasn't the man that we're looking for, but it's a great story. So I just thought, no, he's not. No, he's not going to be arrested, because they would just literally knock on your door and go, come with us, bunny lad. Just put your hands to your back and we'll take you down to the police station. They would take you down to the police station. They would process you. They would arrest you and process you. And then dependent on that, they may charge you. And then if they charge you, they may hold you until you appear in court if it's sufficiently bad enough, or they would just let you go home, police bail, don't do this, don't do that, don't do the other. And if you do, then you're going to end up in a whole world of trouble. So basically, stop people going on social media and to stop lying. So when I saw the video from Andre on the Saturday and then had a quick look at what Maya was doing over the weekend, I just thought he's not going to be arrested because it doesn't feel like he has the right information. Now, either one of two things has happened. The communication from the police, if it has happened, wasn't very good, or Maya didn't understand what he was being told by the police. But I'm sure that the police would say, do you understand? Because they don't, it's the old saying, many a slip between lip and cup. They don't like to make mistakes because then they take them to court, or the CPS says, yes, you've got a case, prosecute, and then they get there and some clever barrister or lawyer goes, oh, you made a mistake with this process, it needs to be thrown out, Your Honour. But I knew on the Saturday, from what I'd seen on YouTube, that he wasn't going to be arrested on the Monday. Sure enough, wasn't arrested. And it's almost Chinese whispers that the information comes to us. And again, evening Tina Barrick, first time Tina. The reason why I ask for sources is because of the stuff that I know. I've been an editor of a magazine. I've had a weekly column in newspapers. I've written for newspapers. I've done TV. I was nearly Matthew Wright. They were going to get rid of him, and I was nearly your Channel 5, not Jeremy Vine. I was Jeremy Vine before Jeremy Vine. So, and I've done late night radio and talk shows and commercial radio and BBC radio 40 years. So I've done a bit in the media. But I also understand having Sunderland's not a nice place. Although, I would never say anything against my fellow Mackhams, simply because it is what it is, and you just get on with it. You just get on with life. What's the moderator said? Don't know. Anyway, so I knew that he wasn't going to be arrested on the Monday, and then there was the videos that come out. Oh, I haven't been arrested. I haven't been. The reason why I ask you for your source is not to chastise you in the chat. It's just to say, look, give me the source. I'll always have a look at it. And if I need to do something afterwards in a separate video, then yes, I would. It's Mackham and Tackham. You're wrong on Kaz. And that didn't happen. There was no source. There was no essence of what was going on. And I promise you, even though a lot of people dislike the police, they're the first person you ring if something really bad happens in your life. So I do hope that this has been a misunderstanding. And Andre Walker did ask for donations. He did ask for donations in a video. But I do hope, and Tommy Robinson has asked for donations in videos. So I do hope that they have learned their lesson from what happened to Alex Belfield. Not in the crimes, because there were, and multiple, that he was charged and sentenced for, found guilty by a jury and sentenced by a judge. I'm not suggesting that they would do that, but Jackie, that's what I've just said. From Google, yes, police can ask you to attend a police station to be arrested. If you're arrested, you'll usually be taken to a police station, held in custody, and questioned. Now, if Maya's in London, and I think he may be, or on the outskirts, whichever police station he was going to be asked to attend, if there's a cop on the streets and Maya's done something, because that bit of information isn't clear. Told you the first casualty of war is always the truth. The real important information hasn't been made clear. If it was Maya bumping into some cops on a demonstration and the cop says attend your local police station on Monday, you're going to be arrested. Now, from what I understand from people that know, if a cop is on the street and there's a wanted, what do they call it? If a person is wanted by the police, they don't say come down to the police station on Monday. They don't. If a person has been spotted that is wanted, they are arrested on warrant. Thank you. Who's that? Alan Liddell. They're arrested on warrant. There and then, in situ, arrested on warrant. So he wasn't arrested in situ. That tells me there was no warrant for him. Being asked to go down to a police station, what was he being arrested for? The policeman would have told him. But what the policeman would have done, most importantly, is raised a job, raised, and forgive me if I'm not getting the terminology right here. They have a radio and they communicate to their control room, and they would tell the control room, I've taken the details of, so it would be Adrian Allen, address, age, just to see if there's any warrants outstanding for me. And they said, so they would tell control would go da-di-da-di-da, da-di-da-di-da, right, there's your job number. And if there's a crime, the crime number, the crime reference has to be attached to that particular incident. So the incident is raised by the cop on the streets. If no incident has been raised and there's no reason for that individual, me, to be arrested, then they would be invited for interview at their local police station. Now, there's a lot of police forces around the country and not all of them work the same way. So if Maya was in London and a cop says, attend your local police station, how would he know what his local police station would be? Because if it was the Met, it's the Met. If it, who's on the outskirts? Kent, Essex, Hampshire, Thames Valley, Hertfordshire. There's a whole multitude of other police forces that operate with different systems and in different ways, and Surrey, as Alan says. So I don't think that he would have been invited to a police station to be arrested. That's very interesting in the field, very interesting. But again, if you're clever at this game, YouTube, City of London, yeah, City of London, Templars, City of London, it's only a square mile. They've got their own bloody police force. What would they do that for? And I can tell you that, well, I'm dragging this from the back of my head. City of London police deal with fraud. They're the national lead on fraud. Action fraud is through City of London police. It's only a little force. It's not majorly big. Well, it's not probably the smallest police force in the country. So the game here is, yeah, Stephen Hall, Herts Police, borders onto the Met. The deal with, if you build moral indignation, then people latch onto it. And I'll use Alex Belfield as an example, although I haven't mentioned Alex for donkey's years on this channel. But I'm sure I will at some point in the future, because he used to be my friend. I can always talk about my friends, even ex-friends. So when you build that moral indignation, and it's really easy to wind people up against the police, against the BBC, against parliamentarians. It's really easy, and people would go, oh, get donation, donation, donation. The way that that you are successful here is you have to have a bit of a campaign going. And lots of people have tried. Some people have been very successful at it. Some people, others haven't. And I understand that Maya's just gotten engaged to his partner, and they're getting married soon. So it may change the game for him. But, 700,000 subs is not to be sniffed at. That's a huge amount of work, day in, day out. So I have the utmost respect for Maya. fill you in. You covered Starmer lying to Parliament. Oh, I'm going to get to it, Phil. Don't you worry. Yeah, 2 convicted. We'll get there. So this is not easy. Doing this is not easy. And having any success at this is not easy. So I take my hat off to Maya Tusi and Andre Walker for that matter, because he's a skilled orator. And he was doing this at the same time as Belfield in the early days. So being a cynical old tart, the first thing I thought was, that's not happening. He's not going to get arrested. And if he had been arrested, my doubts and questions would have been towards the state, the tyrannical state, because covering anything is not against the law. Being there as a citizen journalist is not against the law. But his name might be on some list somewhere because he's been to visit Tommy Robinson inside. And I get all that. And you know, I know that Tommy's still got over a year to do. No, he's going to do 9 months, isn't he? So he's got maybe 7 months to go. But you have to be very careful when you start tugging the tiger's tail, because they don't care. They literally don't care. If America can assassinate a president in the 60s and then attempt to assassinate another president in 2024, you know that there is no conscience, empathy, or compassion in these people. They're not interested. They're evil to the core. So I wish Maya and Andre well, because I wouldn't be tugging that tiger's tail. I've already had my run-ins with the state. I already know what is going on. And Terry says Tusi will get nowhere suing Plod. The Met will say it was a breakdown in communication and the official on the street was under some misapprehension. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The state, it's an easy get out, a real easy get out. And trying to nail these people is like trying to nail fog. Hang on, what's the moderator saying? Never went back. Hang on. The moderator. I was 22 when I left. Jarrah. Jarrah's a fabulous place. Just, I can't tell you why, but it's just a fabulous place. One of my ex-partners was from Jarrah, and she, fabulous place. So the Maya Tusi, Andre Walker, Met Police situation, I'm not. It's tug a tiger's tail, P.T. Ham. And he got that from me, being my phone up through the glass. Let's move on. I want to tell you, we'll have some very nice and lovely, warm-hearted news, because the bishop, local bishop, His Eminence, came to see the body of the Kirk. He kind of does his rounds and goes to see, you know, all the reverends and just updates them as to, you know, it's another year. Darren Bradbury, of course I've heard of Tuti Akia. Was that to me or somebody else? Tusi had an Osmond's warnings and then they doxed him. Interesting. I think the Met's in so much trouble. I don't think that they would make any mistakes. But then again, I've seen video of the Met at a demonstration, and somebody from that demonstration was being anti-Semitic. I won't go into details, but was anti-Semitic. And quite rightly, some of the people that were suffering that particular racism said to the police, "Oi, you're wrong. That's anti-Semitic. That's unacceptable." And they were like, "Oh, sorry, what?" It does happen, but how can I put this respectfully? Not all cops are bright. They're just trying to get through their day and just trying to do their job. Some of them are utter wrong-uns. Some of them are bad apples. Some of them are rapists and murderers and abductors and all kinds of stuff. But you know what they say. No, let's just leave it at that. Let's just leave it at that. So tonight's sermon, as I was saying, sorry, before I get to tonight's sermon, the bishop came in, and the nuns and the choir boys had just finished putting the Christmas tree up, as you can see, that beautiful Christmas tree in the corner of Wayne Cousins, in the corner of the church. It is resplendent. It took the nuns and the choir boys quite a while to get that thing up. I mean, the nuns' hands were red raw by the time they finished. And I said to some of the nuns, sisters, what have you been doing? Your hands look red raw. What have you been doing? And they said, well, Reverend, it's tall, it's big, and many hands make light work. So the bishop did remark on the beautiful erection in the corner of the body of the kirk, because it's just, it's coming up to Christmas. I mean, what Jesus Christ would make of a Christmas tree, because they don't have them in Jerusalem, I've no idea. And the bishop did remark upon how well hung the baubles were on the tree. I mean, I gave all credit to the nuns. I said, well, you know what they're like. Your Eminence, they do like to get their hands on some well-hung baubles. And once that erection was in place, they were just as happy as sandboys. Who's the fairy? PTM, you're wrong. We haven't got a fairy. Do you have any suggestions? We don't. We don't have a fairy for the kirk erection yet. But the bishop was very impressed by the well-hung baubles and the nuns of the parish. I did say to them, well, why don't you take them some cakes or some French fancies around? Because I understand the nuns do like the odd French fancy as opposed to the cucumber patch all year, because it does get cold in the winter. And he did say, well, I'll leave some Mars bars for the choir boys. I said, is that what you normally give the choir boys, Your Eminence? He said, oh, yes. If they're very, very good, then I'll give them a duo. That's 2 Mars bars. Yeah, wrong. And he said, I understand this church is keen on Battenberg. Should I? I said, well, Your Eminence, you can have as much Battenberg as you want. It won't do you any harm, much. And the Bad Wolf Project says, new for Christmas, Gregg's trout pasties. Brilliant. So the bishop's been by. He's seen the wonderful erection that the nuns have been fingering all week, and he is a fan of their well-hung baubles. The choir boys are happy because some of them got duo Mars bars, the others just got singles. Maybe just His Eminence didn't stain their cassocks. I'm not quite sure, but it's better than that bloody awful Starmer debacle the other day. Here 5, here 4, 3, 2. Oh, it's not working. It's not working. Here, Mrs. Beard. Just Andy Turner's just said, I'm fishing and lost signal. What have I missed? Everything, Andy. So let's talk about what we're going to get into. We're going to get into Gregg Wallace in a moment, because that is just, hang on, MZK. I know you've been here before, but welcome MZK to the MZK to the body of the kirk. We'll talk about Gregg Wallace. We got a bit of Beatles 64. We're going to talk about David Beckham. Oh, David Beckham, please, Your Royal Highness, can I have a knighthood? No. Bobby Charlton had one. So can I have one, please? I'll do a Netflix series. Honestly, I look like a really nice guy. Yeah. Oh, I just want, the Mrs. Plastic Tits. I just want her to be called Lady Plastic Tits. Do you mind? Because you know how you can tell boob jobs, can't you? It's the chasm in between them. They're just, oh, blimey. I won't tell you about what the Manchester United supporters used to sing. So I want to talk about Gregg Wallace and the conspiracies. Because as I showed you earlier, the BBC is absolutely chock-a-block, full to the gunnels of perverts, ne'er-do-wells and kiddie fiddlers. Oh, and child rapists, by the way. I keep telling you, what came out of the inquiry into Hall and Savile's time at the BBC, they came out with The BBC knew all about Jimmy Savile raping an 8-year-old girl on BBC property. And what did they do about it? Oh, nothing. Nix, nada, absolutely no. MZK wants 3 Mars bars, by the way. I've no idea what you've been doing, but maybe you need some tissue to clean it up. But the BBC, they're protectors of rapists and kiddie fiddlers. In recent memory, look at Hugh Edwards and what he was getting up to. And the BBC, there were 3 complainants within the BBC who made complaints about Hugh Edwards. And what did the BBC do? Squash it. Nothing was heard. BBC Newsnight had an investigation into Hugh Edwards. What did they do? Squash it. And then he goes, oh, I'm not feeling very well. The missus had to tell the whole world who it was because nobody knew. People, including, because I saw the videos. Now, I won't name them, but they were naming people, naming presenters with good names. And they've already had to deal with libel in a court of law. So they were libeling somebody because, for whatever reason. But the BBC didn't come out. Kaz P. He overstepped his working class wall. That is one of the most prescient comments that we've had tonight. Because I will get to that. But all of the stuff, whether it's Savile or Hall or Edwards, it's all squashed. And then you get to a working class boy, a Barra boy, yeah, from the East End. Baldy boy. And he's not broken the law. Yet these others were raping and abusing and were paying money for, what can I say, boys that wanted to give him pictures for money. I won't elucidate any further. And there's Nigella. How does Nigella Lawson get away with, oh, do you want to squeeze my buns? Yeah, mucky tart. Terry says, good news for Gregg Wallace fans. Apparently Nigella and Gregg Wallace are launching a new show. It's called Innuendo Cooking. It's sure to get your juices flowing with favourites like meat and 2 veg and spotted dick. There's me thinking innuendo was an Italian suppository. It took these victims long enough to start whinging. 14 years for one of them. And as I say, I watched this interview earlier. Stuart says, yeah, Hugh Edwards, and he got a fucking suspended sentence. I know. No jail time. No. Because, well, the BBC initially paid for his treatment. Oh, yeah. If you want to make donuts like Fanny's, it wasn't Franny Craddock, it was Fanny Craddock. Frank Boff, bless him, who wants to make donuts like Fanny's. Stephen Hall says that statue's still there outside Broadcasting House. Yeah, the kiddie fiddler, yeah. Which still to this day, I thought they were going to get rid of it. And they haven't. They just don't read the mood of the public, the zeitgeist, as they would call it. Was it jam donuts? There's a gag there, you're wrong and poorly. I'm not going to take it because it will get both of us banned. Terry Wookford, it's not just Edwards. Oh, I know. So let me give you this. I'll tell you this again because it's the truth. Terry, very prescient. He says they don't care about the mood of the public. I know they don't. They even put the license fee up to £174.50 next year. For what? In fact, that's what I was going to. Let's just park that for a moment because it's a big subject. I just want to tell you, when the BBC announced this week that they're going to charge £174.50 for your licence fee to watch the telly and listen to the radio, seemingly, £174.50. I'm going to tell you what's on BBC One on Christmas Day. Now, you would think that, as in olden times, we would gather around the TV. In my youth, we'd get up like some ungodly hour, open food and sweets and presents and me and my siblings have a rare old time, and then mum and dad would get up 9 o'clock the next morning, having had a late night, because helping good old Father Christmas put toys and stuff out and not make a mess coming down the chimney. Mind you, I was always thankful that Father Christmas had emptied his sack all over our living room floor. The excitement would die down, and then you would kind of watch those less fortunate than yourself on the TV, whether it be latterly Noel Edmonds, but it was normally the BBC's Great and Good who would, and the other side, they would go to the hospitals and make a fuss of the kids and have presents. None of that. TV was an event. Christmas Day was an event, an all-day event, where you would kind of drop in and out of what was going on. There would invariably be some films around late morning, lunchtime, so the dads could get down to the pub, get away from the screaming and the kids, and just have a couple of large ones, just to kind of brace themselves before the Queen's speech and Christmas lunch. That was a tradition in our house, and I'm sure it was everywhere. But the Christmas Day schedule this year, have a guess what they're doing. This is BBC One. This is what you pay £174.50 next year license fee for. BBC One Christmas Day schedule starts at 9 o'clock in the morning. Trolls, Holiday in Harmony. For the kids. What about the adults? The kids are not going to be watching telly. They're not going to be watching telly. They're too busy doing other things with other things, and you know, all their e-numbers and getting sugar rushes and Alan says the King's blabby speech. Oh, can't wait. Yeah, Charles the Weak. And then Toy Story 3 at 11:20. By which point everybody's getting up and having some kind of breakfast if they haven't already had a liquid breakfast the night before. And then 12:55 Minions. The Rise of Gru. And so far, this is lunchtime on Christmas Day. I'm not going to watch any of that shite. And then something at 2:35 called Tiddler. Now, I'm worried that the BBC is airing something called Tiddler, as in Kiddie Tiddler. I mean, you can tell me in the you can tell me in the comments, what the bloody hell's Tiddler? I mean, you know, do the 5-year-olds know? They don't even know that Father Christmas is... Oh, hang on, no, just in case. No, there's no kids watching this, just in case. Then we've got Charles the Week at 3 o'clock for 10 minutes, which was recorded sometime in September, obviously. And then the Weakest Link, Christmas at 3:10. What? Hang on. No Tarzan on the telly on Christmas Day, says Napoleon blown apart. Evidently. Mr. Tumble is a wrong un too, says Pauline Cagliari. Somebody mentioned Four Fingers and a Kit Kat. It's Four. Who was that? Garen Davis. You're wrong un. It's like all the old Joan Collins gags. You heard those? I can't tell them here. They're far too libelous. Des Ashton, let's have the Eagles has landed where they dare. Yeah. Let's have a bridge too far or some daring do. But then again, it's Gen Z. Honestly, I've shit harder stuff than Gen Z, if you pardon my phrasing. And yeah, it looks like it's going to be a telly ban in Alan's house. Mine as well. Mind you, that's only 3:55 Strictly Come Dancing Christmas special. Recorded in October. I mean, I remember back in the day, because you know, in to kind of, again, just park that there. We will get back to Gregg Wallace, I promise you. But just to say that there was a time where there's always two charts, or two top 40 charts. One on the Thursday and one on the Sunday. This is back in the day, before they all mucked it up with shite music. And there was one year where I think the Pet Shop Boys were number 2 and somebody else was number 1. And everybody in the industry heard that the Pet Shop Boys were absolutely flying off the shelves, as in 7-inch singles, because that's what it was back then. And They all wouldn't put the house on it, their shirt on it, everything on Pet Shop Boys being number one at Christmas. And sure enough, number one on Sunday. So the whole music industry made an absolute killing betting on the Christmas number one. So obviously there was a massive furore. We're not doing that. We are absolutely not doing that. You're not doing that again. So they never were allowed to gamble on the Christmas number one. And it's similar with Strictly Come Dancing Christmas, because it's already pre-recorded. I don't think they're taking any bets on who's going to win, because everybody on the production crew and the audience who were there know who won. So might get a sharp 20 on gambling who's going to win the Christmas Strictly Come Dancing. So that's at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And you're just thinking, well, this is going to be a lively Christmas. This is going to be a really special Christmas, because so far the telly is utter shite. And then 5:10, Doctor Who? Joy to the World. Nice. Are we getting religious? And then 6:10, Gregg Wallace and Gromit. Vengeance most foul. So already 6 o'clock. I mean, I think Wallace and Gromit's the only thing I would watch. Doctor Who, kicked it to the curb, jumped the shark years ago when they put a woman in. And then EastEnders at 7:30. Oh, we're really getting into the heavy hitters. EastEnders is not what it used to be either. And then Call the Midwife at 8 o'clock. By the time I've been necking sherry all day, having those mince pies with all the alcohol in, and then having the Christmas pudding with all the alcohol in, and then having some alcohol with me Christmas dinner, you can imagine that I better be hiding the rocks in case I start flinging them at the bloody telly at 8 o'clock at night. Call the shitty midwife. Which scheduler decided that this was a really good idea? I've never watched that. Never will. And then it gets even worse. 9 o'clock at night. Honestly, I'm out on the streets going fighting. 9 o'clock, Gavin and Stacey, the finale. The finale was years ago when I didn't watch it. That's Christmas Day. That's family viewing for the whole day. Now, what kind of family the BBC think we all have is beyond me. But that is utter guff. Kaz says, blinking hell, that's atrocious viewing unless you're a pleb. Obviously, you and I are accepted from that. Amalia says, oh, I love Call the Midwife. I wouldn't deny anybody watching anything that they want to enjoy. But Amalia, I'll be proper whizzing my bits off on E-numbers and sugar rushes from all the sweets and chocolate. By the time we get to 8 o'clock, there's every chance I'm going out on the street fighting. And if not, I might start one. And then Gavin and Stacey. I've never watched that in my life. Because that fat old tart that went over to America to do the talk show stuff, he's just a bloody annoyance. Again, my view. It's my personal view. And I would rather I had something that was either intellectually stimulating or gave me a message. And if the message is, stop eating that chocolate and drinking that alcohol and bugger off to the pub, I'll take it. So let's get back to Greg, the utter wrong'un. We're talking about the BBC and how the BBC, they simply can't get it right. I wonder why. I wonder, all those people that are on hundreds of thousands of pounds, the decision makers who would have known about Gregg Wallace. And I will tell you my view, Gregg Wallace is not the brightest. He might have thought that it was banter. He might have thought that it was funny when he was an East End barra lad. And look, I've worked on my trade, when I'm plying my trade, not rough trade, before you start, yeah, wrong. I'm a motor mechanic by trade. James Corden is banned from every Unravelling Wilburys tribute gigs. Ah, wonderful. So I know what it's like to work on a building site. As I say, I worked on plant and motor cars. And I can tell you, going out onto site in midwinter, having to lie under a road roller, and if anybody can remember those or has worked on those, you'll know what it's like taking a bloody battery off a road roller in deepest winter in Sunderland. And I know how rough they can be. And I know how laddish they can be. And maybe, as someone said a little earlier, the BBC are not happy that he's jumped over his particular wall, the Barraboy wall, and he's now missing with the wokerati and the usual media whores in London. I get all that. Because I've told you before in these lives, I once had an interview with within BBC Newcastle. They wanted to do a soul show, and there was two people up for it. There was me, who has an encyclopedic knowledge of black music, soul music, however you want to define it, and somebody else who didn't have a clue. And he sat there, this guy, and interviewed me and asked me which school my dad went to. And I thought it was a comedy routine. Which school I went to, which tie I had. And the other guy, who knew absolutely naff all about soul music, just went to the right school. He got the job. Love a bit of Northern Soul. Soul Rebel, me too. Frank Wilson, do I love you? Indeed I do. And from that day onwards, I worked for the BBC again, but not BBC Newcastle, because the old school tie. Oh man, lads, that went out with a bloody arc. But they were still making those decisions. So I do think there is an element of Gregg Wallace, the wokerati, sitting there going, "Oh, we can get rid of him." Terry Wookford says, "I would be careful if I was you, mate. 10 years' time and one of your audience may grass you up for the Battenberg jokes." Yeah. This is a face that gives a fuck. So, but I get it. 14 years ago, he might have mentioned something, and they've held on to this particular hot coal for 14 years until it was time to fling it. Now, we'll go through some of the stuff that, some of the conspiracies, because I just know that these people that are making these decisions don't live in the real world. They've never lived in the real world. They don't know what it's like to get out and actually graft for a living. And I'm telling you, getting up at 6:30 in the middle of fucking northeastern winter when it's hoiling down with snow outside, and then working on building sites all day till 4 o'clock, and then taking an hour and a half to get home, and then you literally tea, bed, up again for the grind. They have no idea. And I will tell you this, for absolutely shit sure, technical term that we use in radio, they've never been into a factory of women. Because where Gregg Wallace would have been brought up in the East End, you know, your Dick Van Dyke Barraboy, if there was a factory full of women, men never ever dared venture into those factories. I've done that. I've been there. I've walked into a room as a 17, 18, 19-year-old boy, wet behind the ears, and then the women in the office started. Now, whether it was, there were big factories in Sunderland. One was the ropery. One was some of the catalogue companies. But I can tell you this. One man, yes, of course. Now, I'm not denigrating Harvey Weinstein and the Me Too movement. Not by any stretch. Women are worse than men. But men, and this is not the correct word, but it's only really the appropriate. Men hunt solo. Women hunt in packs. So, I mean, I don't know, but you know, I've some of the stuff that's happened to me, because I've obviously got eyes on things, and women are worse by a long stretch. They just don't advertise it. They don't tell people they've done it. And you turn around and say, what, you were sexually harassed by a woman? Yeah? What are you, man or a mouse? women in the workplace can be a hell of a lot more outrageous than men. I agree with you, Terry. Yeah, exactly. I mean, some of the stuff that has happened to me, I still can't broadcast on here. I can't, because, where I was brought up, it wasn't easy. So, as I've told you the story before, whether it's men or women, men hunt solo, women hunt in packs. And as Amalia says, it's all about intent. I understand. But I think that these shenanigans, I think Wallace is being made a scapegoat. Because I think I have. Alan says you liked it. Admitted. I did, some of it. Well, I'm a heterosexual man. What do you mean? Of course. I mean, there was like no, I can't tell you that. So I think Wallace is being made a scapegoat, and there is a reason behind why he's being made a scapegoat. Have you not asked yourself the question, hang on, why are the MPs getting involved? Why is Parliament getting involved in something that at best was ill-conceived banter, at worst sexual harassment? But nobody has said anything, done anything, committed any criminal act. Nothing. And then all of a sudden, it's front page. It's been front page all this week. So what are they hiding? What is about to happen that they're hiding? And as I asked on X, what is John T. Road? I still don't know how he pronounces his name, T. Road. It's Torode. T-O-R. Out with T. Road. No R. Is the O silent, John? So, John T. Road today. Oh, lads, look, we weren't mates. Really? Yeah, we never even went round to anybody's house. Mates, no. Really? Yeah. You know what that smells of, don't you? Arse covering. So it kicks off at the weekend, and he comes out and goes, no, BBC, mate, what we're going to do to MasterChef? What are you going to do? Oh, we'll just air it on Monday. Yeah. But the finger's going to start pointing at me. What, sponge fingers? No, the pink fingers. Well, that's what he's been trying to give them. So let's ask this pertinent question, which obviously none of the press have. How did John T. Road meet his wife? Clue? One word, not even hyphenated. MasterChef. She was a winner. So how did John T. Road meet his wife? And how did the BBC allow that? Because if you're banging one of the contestants, I think that's just a little bit worse than anything that Gregg Wallace has done. He's not even got anywhere near shoving his sausage up the Mersey Tunnel. Has he? John T. Road has. Mucky tart. So how did that happen? So nobody's asking the right questions. The right questions. She says, hello, John, mate. You and Greg weren't mates. No. We never went on holiday together. We didn't go around to each other's house. No, we didn't cook for each other. Don't be silly. No, he's a barra boy. I'm a chef man. No. And what else? Well, we didn't fraternize. He didn't use that word, that's for sure. Not that intelligent. Great chef, from what I can gather. I remember him doing this morning. I nearly said something out of turn there as well. So he's done this morning stuff, and he's done the BBC stuff, and they've done MasterChef since 2005, nearly 20 years, and they've not fraternised. They've not had a livener when they've gone abroad, shooting here, shooting there. They've not done anything like that. No conflict of interest there, then. Who said that? You're wrong. Exactly that. Well, peg me. Wait till I get my rolling pin out. So I'll quote him. I'll quote John T. Rhodes. We do things separately. I bet you do now, because he's all over the paper. Notice how when somebody gets in a bit of the brown stuff, the doo-doo, all of your mates, they're gone. If it's going to affect them, they're gone. And Gregg Wallace, I mean, he, you know, when you're digging, sorry, stop digging, because it's just going to end up all over you. The old bottle says, you keep your rolling pin out of it. That's why I was sexually harassed. We do things separately. We've not been to each other's houses. We've never been friends. I mean, it's like Morecambe and Wise. But we get that. One of them's not being accused of cracking really bad gags, though. Look at Holly when the Scove story came out. I know, showbiz, Stuart. Showbiz. They would stab you in the front, let alone the back. I'm missing all the good gags in the chat. Ray, what does Gregg Wallace and Mr. Kipling got in common? They both filled tarts with cream. That was Ray's gag, not me. So they were brought together in 2005 after MasterChef took a 4-year break. So they're now stopping airing MasterChef at Christmas. But they've still got Hugh Edwards' archive of all the great state events. And Savile, they had to cut Savile out of the Top of the Pops reruns. Now then, I'll just grab this young lady's derriere while I'm doing my piece to camera. You tart. I'll ask you another question. Shall we stop all of the Christmas office parties? I mean, I don't know whether you've been to some, but they have a few too many of these. And all of a sudden, they're at it with each other in cupboards and other rooms. And I mean, I could tell you some stories that made my hair curl at the time, let alone anybody else's. This was radio after all, darling. But it was, how can you stop Christmas office parties? Brilliant. And the one thing that I did wonder about Gregg Wallace, why did he always wear a hairnet? He's bald. Andy Turner says, I've DJ'd at a few office parties and seen some things. So, Greg posted to social media something really, really interesting recently, that he'd heard some disturbing reports about an additive being added, obviously, to cow's milk. And it was getting into the food chain. And that he was going to expose this to the general public and he wasn't going to stop. That's a post on his social media from a little while back. So why would they attack him, or somebody would attack him, with this? Now listen to this. Bill Gates, you know, that Bill Gates, he looks like a pregnant bloke. That Bill Gates, whose wife left him because of the stuff he was doing on the Lolita Express, or rumoured to be. That Bill Gates. During the summer, the parent company of Bovir, the additive that they want to give to cows to stop them farting by 27%, he bought 1 million shares of this parent company during the summer before they announced it. So he buys the shares go up because of what they're doing with net zero and cows farting and the additives they're going to give into the cows. And then Gregg Wallace says, I'm going to out all this. I've heard about them doing this. I'm going to tell everybody the truth. That's why I asked you at the beginning of this, why have the MPs gotten involved? Why would, I mean, why? Unless they've got a vested interest, if you forgive my euphemism. And why did Bill Gates buy 1 million shares in the parent company of the company that's going to actually create and administer the feed to the farting cows? And then, quite rightly, Stephen, Bill Gates and Chief Executive Officer of BlackRock, Larry Fink, meet with humorless Starmer at number 10, but a couple of weeks ago. Literally a couple of days before they announced this feed going into cows. But they'd been putting this into cows for months and months and months. They just didn't tell us. So you can have a kind of an offshoot of a conspiracy. I believe they have to kill off the whole food industry. They have to, because they want to control it, all of it. So they have to drop a nuclear bomb somewhere. And as if the farmers, I looked at my Tesco milk a couple of days ago when it all broke. And the only additive that they list on there is they don't. Not a single one. That's very good, Stephen. Gates from hell. Monsanto says English bottle cap. But I looked at the label. They don't tell you exactly what's going on. They don't tell you exactly where the cows are being raised. They don't tell you exactly what they're being fed. All they tell you is we give the farmers a fair price. As if that is what is important to us now. No, it's not. We give the farmers a fair price. Foxtrot Oscar, you wrong-uns. Tell us what you're feeding the cows. Tell us what chemicals you're feeding the cows. And tell us if this chemical, whether it is true or not, whether this chemical actually gives you testicular cancer. Because that's what the investigation into this food stuff has uncovered. Oh, Bad Wolf Project. See, the BBC, it's full of shite, man. It's literally packed to the gunnels, as I've said. Here's some breaking news. Clive Myrie, sorry for not declaring 145 grand in earnings for 28 engagements carried out by Myrie, which he had not previously declared, going back as far as 2021. Citing an admin glitch. I bet it bloody was. I bet it was. Sack him. Sack him. Get rid of him. It's fraud. Get rid of him. Sack the fecker. HMRC, what are you going to do? You're going to take him to court? Or is he going to pay it back? Or is he going to be let off because it's BBC? And also, as Kaz has said, with the Gregg Wallace situation, I mean, that Clive Myrie story is breaking at just the right time, so should be on the front pages of all the dailies tomorrow. The Gregg Wallace story is multi-layered. Now, look, I'm not going to defend him, protect him. If he's been inappropriate, if he's been groping women, if he's done stuff that is illegal, then throw the book at him. But when he did the video saying, oh, it was middle-class women of a certain age, there is an element of truth in that. It's all the twin setting pearls all going, ooh, ooh. Foxtrot, Oscar, man. Hang on a second. Thank you for the clarity, Terry. Clive Myrie, you are not allowed, because my contract at the BBC, and this went for every single person within the BBC, 29,000 of them when I was there, you weren't allowed to earn money outside of the BBC because you worked for the BBC. And there were big names like Vanessa Feltz, who at the time was working for the BBC, and they said, no, you can't do other stuff, the corporate stuff. That's why a lot of them created their own business, because they were paid by the business rather than the BBC. So if Myrie's on a contract that they pay his business rather than him, then that's just creative accounting. But Lineker did, says Stephen. Wallace and Groping Grommet says exactly that. So if Clive Myrie has been creatively accounting or getting someone on his behalf to creatively account, then sure. As Donald Trump said when he was debating with Hillary, he said, "Of course I know the system. I use the same tax breaks that her donors use." So if you've got, I mean, there's, there were people named, I won't name them here, but there were big names being named at the time for tax evasion, even Ken Dodd, bless him, under the bed. So if you're a middle-aged, podgy white boy, and you're not part of the workerati, it's just a matter of time. Told you before, women are worse than men. But if you look at the subtleties of what is going on, I do believe that the newspapers are on a witch hunt. I don't know who started the witch hunt or for why. This is not the Me Too movement. It's just a podgy old boy that's being inappropriate. Now, if he has done things that are illegal, then throw the full force of the law at him. Throw the book at him. Now, I've got some friends who work in the media who are telling me there's still stuff to come out. Yeah, as Des Ashton says, don't look at what's really going on. Look over here at the irrelevant window dressing. I mean, look, in another week or so, the MPs are going to go on holiday for 5 months for Christmas. And so there'll be no entertainment from the entertainment arm of the military-industrial complex. There is, let's put a full stop to this Gregg Wallace story. I believe he's been inappropriate. I believe it's just his conditioning. I believe the video that he put out the other day saying it was just women of a certain age was a mistake, and then he put out an apology. He needs to disappear for a while. The BBC, why didn't they just put it on the iPlayer? Whatever they've recorded, why didn't they just put it on the iPlayer? So if people want to go and watch it, are fans of MasterChef, and don't care what Gregg Wallace has done, then why don't they allow them just to go and watch it on iPlayer and forget about it? But remember, it's your license fee money that they've used to record this show, and now they're just scrapping it. So there are a couple of very pertinent questions. When did the BBC know? When did John T. Rode know? And where did John T. Rode meet his wife? Was it on MasterChef? Or wasn't it? And when did they start dating? Afterwards? Convenient. It's a mess. But there's a witch hunt going on for a reason. Just watch out for Cravendale and Arla and all that stuff that's going on around, and Gates having 1 million shares in the parent company. Are the BBC going to report that? Bet they don't. BBC don't want to tell you the truth. Don't be silly. Journalists in the BBC. Why aren't they telling everybody this then? Well, they won't. So I'll tell you the quick story. I was running a radio station in London called Liberty 963. It's based just off the Edgware Road with Jazz FM in the same building. Jazz FM had a massive building. We were on a mezzanine, and we then moved over to the Brompton Road opposite Harrods. And there was one day I was, again, a room full of female journos. I was leaning over the desk, and not one of those female journalists did anything or said anything to protect me. So Simon Bates, not his real name, comes into the office. I'm bending over the desk and just slides his hand under my sphericals and starts groping my sphericals, making unnecessary noises. And I just thought, I kind of looked down thinking, hang on, somebody's got hold of my bollocks. And I did think about calling my biography Simon Bates Stroked My Bollocks. And I stood up, realising who it was. I said, Bates, you do that again, I'm going to rip your arms off and I'm going to shove the soggy ends up your arse, whether you like it or not. And he kind of made some unnecessary noises and off he went. And this was witnessed. Loads of them. Not one of them said, oh, that's no, you can't, that's inappropriate. As in to him, not to me. But I stopped it immediately. Because I get that some of these women are intimidated. He's a star, blah, 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 fucking blah. Exactly that, playing marbles. Penga. They only understand strength, bullies. So it doesn't matter, how you feel about things. You have to put a stop to it. Right there, right then. And I just did it. And he invited me out for some dodgy lunch, just round the corner from Radio 1. Hello, love. Away, darling. Let's go for lunch. Fuck me. You paying, Bates? Yes, darling. I'll pay. Didn't do it again. The fact that he sexually harassed me was, I don't bloody care. I did in the moment because it was embarrassing. But, the production crew on MasterChef, the producers on MasterChef, the BBC decision makers, they all would have known. All of them. Because the first or second time that somebody says something inappropriate and nothing's done, they all want to ride that gravy train. No, don't rock the boat. No, he's the talent, darling. He's the talent. As in Gregg Wallace. So they, 20 years down the line, they don't want to lose that gravy train. Yeah, exactly that. All you can eat. I was going to do a couple of things to make you go, But after Gregg Wallace, there is something that we're not being told. There is an agenda in the background, and I can't quite work it out yet. I have a feeling. But if he was going to expose a company worth millions and millions and millions, and this is part of, because as I said to you on Sunday, the agricultural land in this country is almost as big as Ukraine, and Ukraine is the breadbasket of Europe. So we have a huge agricultural swathe of land, and who wants it? Larry Fink and Bill Gates. And if Gregg Wallace was going to queer that particular pitch, they would want rid of him. They would want him squashed. They would want him gone. Nobody is going to stand up against BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street, and Bill Gates. If Bill Gates had been around in the 60s, he would have paid enough money to be the fifth Beatle. So watch how this unfolds. As I say, looking on the evidence so far, I'm sniffing brown stuff. Do you think Gregg was on Hunter's laptop? Deaf for a whistleblower. Good point, Cass. But if there's worse to come out, and some of the London media whores are, there's stuff to come out. Well, just say it. Just say it. Or are you going to wait for the Sun to report it? And if you look at this, now we've got Po-faced Starmer addressing the nation tomorrow. What the? Do these people think they're on? Fucking toy boy Sunak. They're all little men. They've all got little men syndrome. And he's going to address the nation tomorrow. They're having a bloody reboot. Last weekend, they're like, oh, we're really in the shite. We're really in the shite. As Alan says, Starmer's reset at the weekend. All of a sudden, he's laughing and joking. Behave. That man's not got a funny bone in his body. Right, having Lord Alley's. And as Rich says, can't wait till Trump makes the Epstein list public. Oh, they're already at it. They're already, I'm telling you, the military-industrial complex will have decided that he needs to be gone. That's why you're not seeing him anywhere. You're not seeing him at any rallies. You're not seeing him outside of Mar-a-Lago. Have you seen the mechanical dogs that are patrolling Mar-a-Lago? I mean, that's full boon of military grade. And the military-industrial complex will know that they can't get past those dogs. Oh, yes. And Garen Davis makes a very good point. Appeal all over your fruit. So, as a little aside, I told you, somebody asked me, because we were heading to World War III, there's only Trump stopped this. Because he was sending his details of his team out, this person, that person taking the job, and then all of a sudden he goes quiet. He's negotiating world peace. This boy, he needs every epithet and plaudit given to him. Nobel Peace Prize, give it to him. A head on Mount Rushmore, give it to him. Because we were so close to World War III and nuclear Armageddon, the Russians sent an intercontinental ballistic missile and said, you fuck about with us, we'll come and nuke you. And some people were like, oh, no. All of a sudden there's peace in Gaza, in Israel, in Lebanon. Whoa, how did that work? And then all of a sudden, Sniffy Zelensky saying, can we have peace in Ukraine, please? Can we have, me missus wants a new Bugatti out of Paris. Don't be nuking us. She won't be able to have the car or any new bags or any new shoes. And he's bought an 88 million hotel. But the American military-industrial complex, he's got to satiate them. He's got to make sure that they don't assassinate him or try to assassinate him. But they are looking at... Just imagine that when that assassination attempt happened, the people that were meant to be protecting him allowed that boy up on the roof. They allowed him. They knew what was going on. It was allowed. JFK, Dealey Plaza. It was a turkey shoot. The Americans don't care. Oh, all this theory. Oh, we've killed a president. They've done it once. They'll do it again. And the only thing that we need to do as a species is make sure that Donald Trump gets into the White House on January 20th. Because if he's not inaugurated, neither is any of his team. Cash as FBI director. Oh, I'm getting my popcorn for that, says Rich. Me too. And it was Cash that came out and said, yeah, what do you want releasing? Do you want the Epstein files? Oh, yeah, don't worry, we'll release them. The JFK files. Oh, you want them? Oh, yeah, don't worry, we'll release them. Can you imagine the fallout of all of this? And the Epstein, where's Hillary and Bill going? Bill, give the dog a bone, Clinton. Monica says it was a very happy finish. English Bottle Cap says, redacted. I know, but he's the president and he's the director of the FBI. So who decided to redact all that information? It was the office boy. Can you imagine? It's coming. Bit like Bill Clinton with the interns. At least Hunter has been pardoned. I mean... Joe Biden, liar, pants on fire. Well, all right, liar, shitty pants on fire. Oh, Jill, I followed through. Come on, Joe. Let's go and change your Y fronts. Oh, Jill, I followed through. Let's go and change your wife fronts and have an ice cream, Joe. You're the most powerful man in the West, and you can't, well, you'll be forever known as President Brown Pants, Joe. Right, I'm just going to pardon me son, because, well, he's my son, and I'm president, and I can do what the I want. Yeah, like shit your pants every day. Joe. Macron wouldn't let him go to Notre Dame reopening. Is that, well, obviously, because the last time it was, can you not, the last time Macron was with President Shitty Pants was leaning forward trying to strain one out. And you could see Macron looking at him going, don't you bloody dare. Oh, Joe, man. Jill, get him gone. He's just shit himself again. Can you stick a bung up his backside or something? Oh, no. Can you imagine, Des? Pass the paper. Oh, Joe, what have you done? He's invited President Trump instead. Same thing as President Shitty Pants. Trump. So, I've said to you before, you know that the incoming president, they have a 6-month executive overlap so that they're up to speed by the time they get inaugurated in the middle of January 20th. Still making me laugh while I'm trying to say stuff, you're on. By the time the new incumbent president, the incoming president, the incumbent president, they both get the same briefing. Can you imagine if Trump is not getting the same briefing as President Shitty Pants? President Brownstream. Let's very quickly talk about shrinkflation, because something occurred to me today. Shrinkflation. Have you noticed how all these companies are stealing from us? Lionel Layton, yeah, wrong, and you'll have to play on catch up. You missed the best bits. Have you noticed how these companies, like the chocolate companies, are stealing, nigging from the man and woman on the street? I mean, it used to be that if you wanted one of those tubs of chocolates for Christmas, you used to have to wheel it in a wheelbarrow. They were so big. It used to take you 2 weeks to finish it all off. Now you get one of those tubs of chocolates, whatever you decide, and they're gone in half an hour. Oh, is that just me then? But it is shrinkflation. They're stopping us. In the words of the great Chinese philosopher, where's all the bloody chocolates gone? So you'll get up on Christmas Day and somebody go, oh, just fancy a chocolate. I'll have one of these. And then like 10 minutes later you go, who's eating all them? And it's shrinkflation. As I say, not too long ago, you used to be able to buy a tub of chocolates and they would last you for weeks, easily through the new year. And that's you scoffing them left, right and centre. Thieving bastards. More importantly, Snickers milk chocolate is nearly 2 inches longer than the Snickers white chocolate. Reinforcing a racial stereotype. That's brilliant, Terry. Brilliant. So watch out for it. I'll buy them Boxing Day when they're on sale. Tight arse northerner. I was going to talk about somebody we were kind of touching on crypto. Now I can't give you any financial advice whatsoever, and I don't intend to. Hang on, Morrison's foot-long sausage roll is actually 13 inches long. Only if you stroke it and give it a kiss, Alan. I was going to, I'll wait for you to stop laughing. I can't give you any financial advice because that's not my place, and there are certain rules where you can't do that on YouTube, of course. But I was going to give you some insight into what is happening with crypto. And 10 Jaffa cakes instead of 12. Oh, I'll get that in the field, my favourite. Is it a cake or is it a biscuit? And you've got crypto is like the kids. It's you know when you get to a certain age, like our age, and free the sausages, says Amalia. Amalia. Certainly at 13 inches long. It's not Gregg's. Curly whirlies have shrunk into oblivion. Oh, I'm with you with that. Now you get it in a bag. You don't get a curly whirly as a bar. You get it in a bag. Thieving bastards. I had shrinkflation during the last cold snap. Me too, Ray. Me too. Wearing 2 pairs of thermals now. Hang on, what's this? Mondelez International, who own Cadbury, sign a deal with Arla to provide 11% of milk. Telling you, this is something they're not allowing us. I mean, they're stealing our joy. Look, I get as a diabetic, you shouldn't be really eating that much chocolate and all the sugars. But shrinkflation, you can't have that many of them. They're gone by Boxing Day. And now Arla are selling Cadbury's milk for their chocolate. You know what that means, don't you? At least you'll stop farting after you've eaten the chocolate. Did I say that out loud? So I want to tell you about just a very simple way of getting your head around some of the coins, the crypto coins. So what has to happen, and this is going to happen when Trump gets into power on January 20th. He's holding back on the man or woman who he's going to name to head up crypto, the digital currencies. To give you context, I've already told you about individual digital identifiers since the summer in this country, and it's being brought in by the back door, which is unusual because politicians never do anything by the back door. Touch your toes. So they're bringing individual digital identifiers in, and they're going to get rid of, over time, and it could be the next 4 or 5 or 10 years, they're going to get rid of the fiat currency, which is your pound notes and your coins. That's the fiat, the pound, the dollar. They're going to get rid of it. It's going to become digital currency. And in that transition, it's going to be that Ripple, for example, are going to have the digital dollar. But there has to be a bridge between the fiat currency and the digital dollar. And what's that going to be? XRP, which is a digital coin. So I'll use the Templars as an example. So say you're in London, because that was their base. Let's say you were in London and you went to the Templars and said, "Oh, I'm going on a pilgrimage to Jerusalem," and they would say, "Okay, give us your money, leave your money here. We'll give you a note. You take the note to Jerusalem, and when you get there, they'll give you the equivalent for that note." Now, I know people have said it was kind of the original checking account. But with digital currencies, what's going to happen is that there's going to be, say, the dollar in country A, London, for example, and country B, Jerusalem, the Holy Land, is going to be another kind of dollar or currency. So what you're going to need is a bridge currency between the two countries. And what you'll do is you'll deposit money in country A, London or America or the dollar or the pound, and then you'll travel your pilgrimage all the way over the Mediterranean to Jerusalem, and you'll get there and go, "I've got me bridging digital coin in me digital wallet, in me cold digital wallet, and can I have me money, please?" And it will be transferred into the other digital currency. Now, what I've just given to you, rewatch it. What I've just given to you is the way for you to make wealth and generational wealth. Because it's coming, but it's coming when Trump gets into power. Because BlackRock are buying Bitcoin and XRP and Ethereum. All the institutions are getting in on it. But remember, you will own nothing and be happy. So they don't want you getting rich. They don't want you to have the choice of foods whenever you like. Shrinkflation. Cows, They're not going to allow you to have steak. They're going to have you like a 3D printer. Tastes like cardboard. All you've got to do is keep an eye on these utter wrong-uns are up to. If you know the destination, you can enjoy the journey and know what they're going to do, because that's what they're up to. You will own nothing and be happy. Blockchain, Danny. Nice one, Rich. Yeah, the blockchain. Yeah. But it has to work. And Trump has come out this week and said that he wants everybody on a level playing field. That's all the banks. And the other reason why America is going to get into digital currency is because it's the only way that they can wipe out their $36 trillion debt. It's the only way. They can't print more money and pay it off. That don't work. But if they transfer everything, all their wealth into digital currencies, they can wipe out the $36 trillion debt. Bitcoin price cap is already in the trillions. But the challenge and the difficulty with this is that the man and woman on the street don't understand it. The bankers do. The rich do. Because it's just another asset. And that's how they work. Have you never listened to or watched Rich Man, Poor Man? Not Rich Man, Poor Man. Rich Dad, Poor Dad. James Kiyosaki. Robert Kiyosaki, Jesus, I'm getting it wrong. I've been on too long. XRP dropped by 12% today. I know. The Wandering Star. I know it did. I know it did. Exactly that. I'm looking like George Clooney. Good on you, exactly that. He's upset with Barack Obama. Don't go anywhere near him. Probably pissed off with Barack Obama. So I hope you've enjoyed the live tonight. It's been slightly different, but there's some nuggets of gold in there. Watch the Gregg Wallace story. Because if they can't come out with anything worse than it's come out as, there's a reason behind it. And ask yourself, why would MPs get involved in this? Oh, Ray Norton, that's a great point. Starlink. Where have you gone, Ray? Starlink to handle encryption of blockchain. So that's why he wants him there. Honestly, Trump's a very clever businessman. He will not do anything unless he's going to make money. Telling you. So thank you for being here. Thank you for your likes and your subscriptions already. We're over 100 likes for this. Brilliant. Thank you very much for that. Look after yourselves. Be well. We'll be back with another live on Sunday, 8 o'clock as ever. Go well. We are trying to upload. You'll notice there's quite a few more videos being uploaded now. Thank you to the Scarlet Pimpernel. And we're trying to do more and more and more, make it consistent. So there's information and entertainment and context for you on lots of different subjects. So thank you for being there. Thank you for being here and enjoying this evening. I will see you Sunday, 8 p.m, if not before. Look after yourself. See you soon.